What's up, guys? It's your boy Red Ghost, your host of the Nfinite podcast, and also would like to introduce my co-host.
What's up, guys? It's Steven.
And we're going to be doing a lot of different stuff in this podcast, right? Just kind of moving forward and just everything that we want to do, right? But just to kind of address our hiatus, we're back, we're here, and we're moving forward. And that's all that matters. And we definitely plan on being a lot more consistent. So definitely make sure to check back here on our several different podcast channels, whether you're listening on Google Podcast, Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, whatever the case is. Make sure that you're tuning in. And also follow us on Twitter at Nfinite as well to just stay updated with our consistent content. But let's get into the Let's get into this podcast, right? I can't talk, but it's okay. Moving forward, I would love to talk about DreamHack Atlanta and as well as our Halo team. This seems to be a question that is within the community as no one knows truly who our roster is / was or what the case is. So to address it here firmly, our roster consisted of Falcated, Porky J, and Omega. Between us and the players, we have decided to step down from this event. We will not be at Atlanta in a Halo capacity. However, we will be there representing Super Smash Brothers as well as doing content and other derivatives there. So we're pretty excited about that. But just to add a bit of information about the Halo team, after our performance in the qualifier, and as well as how scrims had been going, we felt it was better as a team to skip out on this event, reassess things as an organization, and figure out what we want to do come 2020, and especially going into what we hope is Halo Reach. But as far as that's concerned, that is definitely what our plan is. Now, to also talk a little bit about content, to also talk a little bit about Smash, we will be there filming content. So if you're there, if you're an Nfinite supporter, a fan, a community member, or just someone who just really likes our branding, whatever the case is, make sure that you come by, check us out, come say hi. Who knows, you might even be able to be in bits of the content. So that would be really cool. But if you guys are interested, make sure to come check us out in DreamHack Atlanta. We will be there supporting our Super Smash Brothers players, C-Stream and Toast, as they go to enter into both singles and doubles. We're very curious to see what happens. They had a phenomenal performance at Big House 9, getting 13th in doubles, which is absolutely incredible. And we're very excited to see what happens. And it's going to be a very interesting tournament, I think. And we definitely plan on having a lot of fun and really just, enjoying ourselves, and as well as, watching the Halo tournament, and, seeing everybody play and saying hello to everyone. That's definitely on our to-do list, if you will.
Hopefully we maybe can get some Smash content in there with the players, maybe. What do you think?
I think that would be awesome. I think that would be fantastic. But little do they know, we have stuff in the works, right?
Yeah.
They don't even know yet. They don't even know.
But keep going on about the Smash stuff. I mean, I think the players are looking really good, honestly.
Yeah, I honestly think they are. They're killing it. As far as, just seeing, especially Patrick, watching C-Stream progress, from 2 years ago to now has been an absolute incredible journey. Just taking that step with Patrick, as I said, like 2 years ago, that initial step, and it has proven to be such a good thing. Honestly, like I'm not sure of another word there, but for lack of a better words, it's been a good
amazing
thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it honestly is. It really is. To see him, again, go from where he was to where he is now. I mean, Super Smash Con, C-Stream and Toast placed 49th there. And then also at Just Roll With It, they placed 7th prior to that event. And I don't know, it's been an incredible journey. I've really enjoyed watching them play. I'm very excited to see what happens again at DreamHack, and I mean, just because their performance at Big House was absolutely phenomenal, so I'm very curious to see what the boys could pull out, and I think they're going to turn some heads. To be completely honest with you, I really do. I think they're going to turn some heads and show people what's up.
They're definitely going to shock some people.
Absolutely. I don't think the Smash community even knows what's about to hit them.
No. I'd honestly love to see these two guys go to Evo. I really would. I think they could really do some magic there as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely think that they can do well. I'm very excited to see what'll happen at that event. Definitely come next year. It's going to be an incredible journey, right? Because we're only at the start of it, and we have so much more to go. And it's going to be great. And we just hope that all of you here listening are a part of that journey and a part of our
family. I would call it a family. What do you think?
A part of our journey and a part of our goals to be the best organization out there, whether that is within esports content, whatever it may be. And as far as that goes, we can't do that without you. So we're very humble, and we're very happy that we have such great supporters and just such great fans that really care about our brand and about what we're moving forward into. And it really is like a big old family. Honestly, it really is. And I think that I think it's going to be incredible for everyone. Absolutely everyone.
I agree.
But to move forward from DreamHack Atlanta, and what we're doing there, and obviously everything else, I want to get to some topics that have to deal within the gaming industry. We're a podcast that doesn't just focus on esports. We also focus in technology. We focus in video games as a whole, and everything else, right? So we're I really feel very inclined to talk on this topic, right? And especially just the fact of the nature of it, right? Where it has been, what it has done to the industry as a whole, and that's loot boxes.
Oh God.
Yeah. Right.
One thing that I have a problem with is I don't know who said this. I remember hearing it one time, but Nintendo was like adamant about staying away from like loot boxes, and like I said, don't quote me, but they finally decided to dip into the loot boxes whenever it comes to Mario Kart. And it's supposed to be a free-to-play game. The mobile version is the one I'm speaking about. And I mean, loot boxes in Mario Kart. Would you ever think, going back to how young I was whenever I played Mario Kart, and then seeing how games evolve today, just to know that loot boxes are in Mario Kart now. I mean, what's next? I mean, honestly,
really doesn't make sense.
like, why does there need to be loot boxes in a Mario Kart?
It really doesn't make sense. Like,
I get they want to make money. I get there's an agenda there, but also at the same time, like, this is getting out of hand. And it's another thing that I kind of want to say something about is the Call of Duty Mobile. I don't know if anyone has really heard about it, but they got caught manipulating the loot boxes, and that's definitely part of the reason why loot boxes don't need to be in games.
Yeah, it's like why? Yeah. It's like, why go that far? Why push your company, your business, everything upon loot boxes, right? And that includes Nintendo. That includes the company that is behind Call of Duty Mobile as well.
Yeah.
What was it? Because I believe I read the article as well for COD Mobile, or at least something similar.
Yeah, so basically this is what's going on. They have this Halloween thing going on right now, and there is a skin, which is a Halloween skin, and then there's like a AK skin, and apparently, or it's a skin or the gun itself, I'm not really sure, but from my understanding, you have to at least roll 10 times, and on the 9th time, you'll either get the AK-47 skin, or the 10th time, you'll get the Halloween outfit. But it's every 9th and 10th roll, you'll get both of those. But that is forcing players to spend money 10 times. That is controlling the loot boxes. That means the rates that are there, which, hold on, I think I have the rates. So it says that the epic, which is purple, epic would be, I think it's epic is purple, which is 42%. A rare is 46% and uncommon is 12%. Well, that epic where they released it, it says the rates as listed is 42%. Now what they did was they split that 42% between the AK and the Outrider costume. The Outrider costume. But it's on the 9th and 10th one every single time. So why are these numbers even matter right now?
Yeah, I mean, like, because if you really think about it, right, like, at that point when you're adding percentages and everything like that to loot boxes, right, because even Apex does it, right, like, if you log on to Apex and you go to buy a pack, it'll tell you, this percent to get this, it's this percent to get this, or whatever the case. But the fact of the matter is that when you're manipulating percentages to the advantage of you making money, just in any way, shape, or form, it's wrong. It's just absolutely wrong. And that's the big thing about loot boxes, because we're currently in an era where even our government is fighting against loot boxes and seeing and just seeing what happens. I mean, basically, right? And if you're someone who's been living under a rock, right? Because it's quite possible. I heard rocks are pretty comfy, especially this time of year. But if you're looking at loot boxes and you're analyzing, exactly how everything's gone down, it just seems like more and more it's enticing kids, especially, to go grab mom and dad's credit card or debit card and to use it without their knowledge. Because if you're a mom or a dad, you're going to look at a $10 charge and you're probably going to think, oh, it was just probably something that he needed or whatever. It's $10, right? But then you don't catch them the first time. And it could repeatedly happens. And that's happened in multiple different cases throughout the United States, throughout the United Kingdom, throughout various different countries and places.
Mario Kart Tour has been banned, or it's unavailable in Belgium because loot boxes are prohibited there.
And honestly, right, like, shout out to Belgium for that, because loot boxes do not need to be in games. If you're look, okay, I'm all for going to go have cool shit. I love it, right? If I get a cool skin, right, and I'm rocking it out, I love it, right? And I want everybody else to see it too, right? I probably shouldn't, but as far as it goes, like, I definitely get the concept, right? And I'm definitely a part of that, system as well. But why not have it just available to buy?
Well, my thing is this. I remember whenever you used to just be able to play the game and get the costume, and you didn't have to spend any extra money. It was by playing the game, and then they put it behind and it's not even a paywall anymore. Like, they'll license these games or they'll put a name on these games as like free to play or something. And then you have to play 40 plus hours, sometimes 80 plus hours before you get a specific thing in the game you're looking for. Like 80 hours? Really? Like, do you have the time to put 80 hours in, and how long would it take? Like, do you have the time to put 80 hours into a video game for a specific thing, like a skin?
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, regardless, right? Like, I think that if they're going to do it, right, if you're going to do, incentive-based DLC, right? That's what I'll call it, right? If you're going to do incentive-based DLC, you have to make it easier, right? You have to make it genuinely accessible to, your regular casual player, as well as add things that are difficult to get that are much more like towards competitive players or players who simply just put a lot of hours into the game, right? Whether they're a content creator, a streamer, or again, a competitor, have those types of things. But even then, right, even if you don't want to go that route, you could just come out with a skin and say it's like $2 for the
Yeah,
skin,
and then
and everybody would buy your skin. It just seems like every single company, regardless of who it is, at least it seems like, that they're taking advantage of the market. They're taking advantage of gamers as a whole, because when you're like, first of all, and it all kind of goes back, just to mention this as well, because it just kind of it goes in with it. But when Black Ops 4 released a red dot site that was for free on Black Ops 3, I believe, and Black Ops 4 releases this red dot site that you have to pay $2
yeah,
for a red dot site, right? You have to pay
that is so
$2 for a red
aggressive.
dot site.
That is so aggressive
No,
from these
no,
companies.
it's so aggressive. It's like, why not take red dots and things like that, make them available in the game for you to go play the game and earn them, and then when it comes to skins, have like skins that are like $2, like $1.99 for a skin. That's not a bad price for a skin. It's reasonable. It makes a lot of sense. And even then, more
Well,
people would buy your
I mean, to
skin.
be
And that's
honest
just
with
being
you, I think
honest.
even $2 is expensive for a game that I don't even see my character in. Do you get what I mean? Like, I mean, I know, I guess you want to see
I mean,
you
you're
want other
definitely
people to
seeing your
see your
skin,
skin.
though. You're
I,
definitely seeing your
but it's
gun
a,
skin.
I,
Your gun
oh,
skin,
your
you're
gun
seeing
skin.
it.
No, I'm talking about your character skin. Like in
No,
a
I don't.
first-person shooter where the skins are like, certain first-person shooters, some skins are like $5.99. A skin in a first-person shooter that's $5.99. I think that's a little
Yeah, it
outrageous.
doesn't make
Like
any sense.
that.
Yeah, because at that point you're right, right? Like you can't see your character, like, unless you die, or if you're playing a battle royale and you're crawling
Mhm.
around, or if you're in a lobby. Like, skins
Right.
in general,
And
right?
also,
Especially gun
and
skins,
also, I want to
and
say that this is our opinions. We're not
yeah,
trying to
this
change your
this
mind.
is yeah, like these are just simply our opinions, right? Like, if you have a separate like thought process about loot boxes, about skins, about just about pretty much all of it, like, definitely don't be afraid, to let us know like what your thought process is behind it, right? If you're on YouTube, comment down below. Hit us up on Twitter at Nfinite, right? And ask us
I would love
questions.
to know.
It's been
Yeah, I would love to
Yeah,
know.
I would absolutely love to know everybody's kind of perspective on it, if they have a different perspective, right? Because it's very interesting, um, it, especially within, just the entire gaming market, right? And loot boxes are kind of moving to, you know into several different, like, you know just just different markets within gaming, like, even like esports competitions, and tournament organizers, and organizations, like, all of it really does kind of go into loot boxes. But I won't talk about that now. Obviously, we'll save that for another podcast, or if you guys are interested to know, hit us up on Twitter and we will give you our opinions on it. Um but as far as loot boxes are concerned, right, just to try to get back to the topic at hand, you know, gun skins, character skins, whatever the case it may be, right? And even when you're not talking about skins, just like accessories for your gun, all of it. Companies, like especially game companies, they need to really like relook at their game. And they need to understand that, in order for us to have longevity with this title in any way, shape, or form, this is what we need to do, right? Because again, your red dots, your red dot sites, or whatever site you use, and whatever crosshair you choose to use on your site, you shouldn't have to pay for that. You should have to earn that in the game if you want it. When it comes to a gun skin, I think having a gun skin for like $1.99, for example, is reasonable. And then not only that, incentivize the community, because you probably have a community that is filled with designers, and host design contests, kind of like CS, where Counter-Strike, they host like a community thing, and they get designers to submit their gun skins, and they get picked to be put on the marketplace to be bought. Like, why not do that to incentivize, that
Yeah,
you're caring for the community and, and obviously split profits with whatever designer.
exactly.
But at the same time, you are, you're steadily pushing yourself and your brand, your company, all of it, right? You're allowing for other people to digest what you're putting out. Because when you make it overly expensive or just not needed, all you are at that point is a talking point, like you are right now in this podcast. And it doesn't make you look
What
good
is your what
at all.
just to change a little bit from loot boxes, but not too far. What is your opinion on DLC? Like, how do you feel about DLC?
Yeah, DLC, that's that's another thing too, right? Because again, it's in that, same like little ulterior universe rather with loot boxes. But with DLC, I think that hmm,
I mean, I'll give you my opinion if you want to hear mine.
yeah, let me
Uh,
hear your opinion because like I honestly it
so
can go several different ways.
So my opinion on DLC, I think DLC is good to a certain extent. For instance, if you have a game that comes out, next month, and you're already announcing DLC for that game that comes out like day one, if you have day one DLC, I am 100% against that. I do not support that whatsoever, and you're forcing me to buy something that was probably more than likely ripped from the game.
Yeah.
And you're going to sell it to me separately from because I am paying $60 for a full game. And if that content was made before the release date, then you're ripping that from the initial full game.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but that's it. That is I
it's
cannot
wrong.
support that. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
it's
wrong.
wrong. It's wrong. It's completely wrong.
Now,
Like,
if you have DLC that comes out, 6 months after or whatever, then okay, then that's fine. I will support that because you're supporting the game. Then that $60 that I paid for, I'm gonna get longevity out of that game because you're putting out extra content for me to buy, for other people to buy, and I'm okay with that. But if you're going to like rip parts of the game out and sell it to me afterwards, then that it's almost a crime. It really is. I mean, because it's like if someone, if you ordered a pizza and you got, 8 slices and someone took 2 slices out and you had to pay for the full pizza and they said, oh, well, you're going to have to pay for the extra 2 slices. You just paid for the full
yeah,
pizza. Why do you have to be charged for the extra 2 slices? That was
no,
probably a
no, no, no.
stupid,
Like, I definitely
but you
get
know
it,
what I'm
right? Like, I
saying.
definitely understand exactly where you're coming from. Day one DLC as a whole just does not need to be a thing, right? If you're a game company that's doing day one LLC, all right, or DLC, excuse me, all right, all right, all right. I know, I can't even talk. Uh, but no, but seriously, if you're doing day one DLC, the fuck are you doing? Like at the end of the day, you need to understand that you have a community of people who want to support your game and the environment that you've created. When you do things like take things out of the game that were there to begin with, charge them $60 for it, and then have them pay for it again just because you want an extra, what, $5, $10? No, absolutely not. And it doesn't need to be within gaming at all. If you really want my honest opinion, because DLC is, again, right, it's really tricky. If you're a company like, I don't know, if you're a company like, let's just say Call of Duty, since it's just an easy example,
Right.
and you are creating your COD, right? And specifically, let's talk about Modern Warfare, right? Modern Warfare's DLC is free. Every single update that you get, it's gonna have DLC, and everybody's gonna be able to play it, right? Which is good, right? It's good for your community. It's good for it's good for your casual fan base, right? Who have
And it
friends,
brings people back that
who
may have quit
yeah,
to come back and play. I mean, it gives them an
exactly,
incentive to come back and want to play your game again, which makes your game live longer. Like
absolutely.
that, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And it makes it just so much better. It's more digestible, it's easier, it's easily accepted, and it's easily understood. When you have DLC, for example, where you have to pay for that DLC, and you're paying like every, like if you're Call of Duty and you're making someone pay for DLC for 3 times or 4 times a year, right? Like every 3 months. At that point in time, all you're doing is you're hurting that fan base because you're separating them. Because not every single person is going to go buy, your season pass. Not every single person is going to buy every single piece of DLC. When you create a game and they spend $60 on it, they deserve to play whatever you release. Your money should be made, right? Just in my personal opinion, if you're a game company, your money should be made purely off of game sales, the sale of game skins, and if you want to do character customization, and as far as like DLC maps are concerned, like you shouldn't charge
Yeah.
for it at
And
all.
another thing
Absolutely
is like,
not.
to go along with your point, you don't even have in this day and age of gaming, your game's not going to make any money if you don't have like all this kind of stuff where we're talking about loot boxes, DLCs and everything. But that's like a stigma that goes along with games right now, and it's not true because one game came out. It's a single player game. God of War has no DLC. It is a successful game. It does. You don't. I mean, I feel like I'm stressing it, but it's just like
There are
this stuff isn't needed for you to be
there
successful.
are
Like you don't need
billions of
all
people in
this.
this world. All you got to do is create a game that they like. That's all you have to do. That's it. Create a game that is for your community that plays it, right? That influence will then carry over to their
Yeah.
family, to their
It
friends.
yeah, it just feels like most games now are just becoming like loot box,
It's
simulators. It's like a gambling simulator most. And the
it,
point and the
yeah.
problem is with like loot box, you're spending money like continuously on like this game. You've already paid $60 for the game. Now, I have a different opinion on something. If the game I guess I'll say this: if the game has already came out and it is, you paid $60 for the game, and then you're continuously putting money into something, this stuff it's not even real. Like the things you're trying to loot box for isn't even real. Like if they wanted to shut down all their stuff, like shut down if they wanted to shut the game down completely, all your stuff is gone.
Yeah, everything is available on a cloud-based network. Nothing that you purchase that is digital, right? Like a skin or anything. Now, there are some games rather that actually have it, like CS. If you sign into your Steam account, you have it. But when you're talking about a game like Call of Duty, or you're talking about a game like Halo, for example, even when they go and something happens in their servers and the game goes to its base game form, all those skins that you bought, all that DLC, all of it, it isn't there. It's not even a part of the game. You're installing it based on a cloud server in a network, and then you're able to have access to it.
Did I cut
And that's
out?
a problem too, because as far as it's concerned, I don't know. It really feels like there's a consistent tearing, and it's because video games are at the highest peak of entertainment. When it comes to film, like just in anything in film, whether it's movies or TV shows or even music, just the entertainment industry as a whole, video games are at the top. Video games get the most, get the most people to interact with what they're giving out to the public, right? What their entertainment is, right? And the value that video games have is being taken advantage
Right.
of. And
Sorry
that
about that.
shouldn't happen.
I honestly think I cut out there for a second.
No, you're fine. I really don't understand why we're sitting here, right,
Mhm.
and just allowing for these companies to do it, right? Because here's the thing: nothing is going to change unless people band together,
Right.
right?
We have the
There
power.
needs to be, yeah, like there needs to be a common understanding, right? Where be like JG Wentworth, all right? It's my money and I want
You're
it,
so corny.
right? I am really corny, but that's just a fact, right? Like, it's your money. Don't spend the money on it. Make a point that you're not going to support that endeavor, whatever it is, right? And I'd say the biggest like villain of it all, right, is probably Fortnite, right? And I'm not even going to get into it because I know that a lot of people have over the past, and there's a lot of information about it. But I will say this: they're overcharging for V-Bucks, right? Their digital currency. They are overcharging for it.
Yes.
They are also overcharging how much their skins cost. I cannot, for example, like if I were to go buy a Fortnite skin, and let's say it's 600 V-Bucks, I can only buy 500, 1,000, or 1,500 V-Bucks. I can't buy however many V-Bucks that'll cost, right? Like, and I haven't, like, I mean, I played the new map and everything for season 2. I haven't checked out the loot system. Maybe they've done some changes. But as far as what I remember, you cannot purchase a skin at all, or whatever the case it is, right? You cannot purchase it by just simply clicking on it and purchasing that set amount of V-Bucks to buy the skin. You have to buy an extra amount of V-Bucks in order for you to get the skin. So they basically use it as an inclination for you to buy more V-Bucks.
Yeah.
Which again feels like they're tearing away at gaming as a whole, because gaming again is at the top of the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like just as a whole, it's a detriment. It's a detriment, right? And just to kind of go back and touch back on DLC just one more time,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you want to sell your DLC, all right, game companies, all right, if you want to sell your DLC, make sure that you're creating a game that lasts for longer than a year. If you're a game like 2K, Call of Duty, or whatever the case is, and you go on a 1-year rotation, you do not need to have anybody pay for any DLC in your game. They pay the $60 and that's it. And then you have and you can have other things that you buy that are reasonably priced and that are completely available to that player, even when your servers are offline. That's what you need to do. And I'm really tired of these game companies continuously, again, ripping away at the gaming culture. And it hurts. It hurts gaming culture as a whole. It provides a negative stigma, and there's a lot of issues that go along with it. And I think that if you're not paying attention to like what's going like on around you, you're gonna end up doing something to hurt whatever you're trying to improve. And especially with everything else that goes along with gaming. I mean, luckily we have a spokesperson like Slasher, for example, who's helped take a lot of the heat off of the gaming industry. But these negative stigmas really hurt the gaming industry as a whole, whether it's DLC, whether it's loot boxes. Regardless, tearing away at the gaming community is just wrong and just shouldn't happen. But again, this is just my opinion.
Yes, it's just
right?
our
So
opinions.
so please take it with a grain of salt. This is not for you to feel like I'm trying to force you to feel this way.
We're not definitive on this. Like, if you have your own opinion, and I want to know what your opinion is, like, put a comment down. Tell me how you feel. If you 100% disagree with me, I want to know. I'll debate you in the comments, but let me know how you feel, and I'll talk with you. And maybe you can change my mind on how I feel about them. But
yeah, because you never know.
This is just my opinion. Yeah, this is just my opinion. And hey, change my mind if you believe differently, if you feel differently about all this, then I want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's one thing I want to go into is I want to talk about COD esports for just a second.
Absolutely.
If you would. All right. So I've got.
Before we get into this, okay?
Okay.
I actually really love Call of Duty. Right. So just to those that just heard our conversation on loot boxes, I know it brought Call of Duty up as a prime example for a lot of things, but I really like Call of Duty.
Mhm.
Right?
And just to make a point, they are making bad decisions whenever it comes to the mobile games. But I think with the new Call of Duty that's out right now, I think that is a strive in the right direction, and I honestly believe that,
I do
you
too.
know, if they
Absolutely.
if they keep doing what they're doing with this game, then they're going in the right direction.
Absolutely.
You know, they're going to get a lot of their fan base back because a lot of people kind of, you know, been talking a little trash about them and kind of leaving and going to other games. So I think this new COD is going to bring a lot of people back, and I mean a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree, right? And especially with the COD esports teams, and just like newcomers and people that have come from other games in the Call of Duty, right? Um, it's just really incredible to see. And again, I really agree. I think that this new Call of Duty is going in the right direction. I mean, I'm installing Call of Duty as we speak. So when you're hearing this, I will probably be playing Call of Duty. But you can also check my stream out. We'll tweet it out. Remember, follow at Nfinite in order to check out all content, whatever the case is. But anyway, let's get back
Right,
into
right.
it.
I actually
COD
have a question
yeah.
for you. I got a
Shoot.
question.
Shoot. What's
What's your
up?
top 5 COD teams and why? Let's do them in
Ah,
order.
okay. For franchise?
Yes.
Okay. Top 5 COD teams. Okay, in order. All right. Number 1, Dallas Empire. Number 1. All right.
Why?
Because this is why. You have Crimsix, Clayster, Shotzi, Illy, and you have Hook.
Shout out to Shotzi.
Yeah, shout out to Shotzi. Anthony, you're my boy. And I hope you kill it this year. And if I ever get a chance to go to Dallas this year, I'll be at one of your games. You can, I'm going to be like Naruto. You better believe it. All right. Like,
So corny.
But as far as COD, just to touch back on Empire, you have 5 players that, first of all, you have 2 veterans in Crimsix and Clayster. Crimsix that man is a man on a mission right now, and he is looking to get back at his former teammates, as far as his teammates on Chicago COD, and I'm not sure of his relationship with other players, but as far as that is concerned, I see Clayster just being that force with Crimsix, as well as having Shotzi and Illy, who in my opinion are 2 of the fastest learning players you will ever see touch a game. Shotzi during the alpha and the beta was figuring out things about the game before anybody else. He was on top of it, and I really think that they're going to sit there and provide themselves a nice ground, and when you have veteran leadership, 2 people who are just grinders, right, who play the game, figure everything out about it, and then you have Hook, who is a superstar in his own right, who again was a pro in Halo. He was a professional in COD, went to Halo, became a professional, then came back to COD and maintained being a professional. I mean, this guy is incredibly talented, and I think that we're gonna see the best of all 5 of these players this year. And that's why I put Dallas Empire at the top. And again, I love my boy Shotzi, but at the same time, I have to look at this and really, break it down. And I just do not see anybody touching Dallas Empire, in my personal opinion. At number 2, I'm gonna put Chicago COD. And this is why I put Chicago. You have Scump, you have Formal, right? You have Arcides, you have Envoy, you have Gunless. You have a team of just incredibly skilled, raw, talented players. My only question is, how are they going to get along in game? Is this a honeymoon period? What are we looking at in terms of this team and how they're going to develop? Their raw skill as a whole will take them, to sky's the limit. But I really think that if they could have some formal base leadership, right? And I'm not saying Formal be the leader, but just leadership in general with that team, I think that we're going to see those players play the best Call of Duty we've ever seen. But I think that the Dallas Empire has an edge. When Crimsix plays with a chip on his shoulder, man, it's really hard to just knock him. Now, number 3, I'm gonna probably go into. I'm probably gonna go into. Let's see here, because there's several different choices, but I think I'm gonna go with. LA Optic for number 3. That roster is consisting of Slasher, Kenny, TJ Howley, Dashy, and JCap. You have veteran leadership, raw skill, incredibly talented. They're grinders as well. And I feel like that they have the right mix of players when it comes to just like overall understanding of game types. And I think that their S&D gameplay is going to be incredible to watch. But I also think that they're just regular gameplay and just like objective handling skills and respawn is going to be just really hard to beat. I really think that the top 3 can go either way with any of those teams, especially with just the players on them. But I just think Crimsix and Empire are just going to. I really think that Dallas Empire is going to do a lot of damage this season and really retain everything that they're working really hard to retain, and that's just winning, completely just winning. We go in number. Go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, okay. I was gonna say number 4. I have Seattle, and that's with Karma, Slacked. Oh my goodness, Octane. I'm trying to think. Oh my god, I cannot remember the rest of the roster off the top of my head. But Karma, Slacked, and Octane.
I'll tell you.
Those no Apathy. I know Apathy is the player. I don't know the 5th. If you can get the 5th for me. But I would put them as number 4. You have Karma. You have the GOAT, right? He has 3 rings. He is the most accomplished Call of Duty player in history, aside, right beside Crimsix. And he's just a phenomenal force. It doesn't matter if he leaves, comes back, stays, whatever the case is. Karma is just a great player. Slacked is a very underrated player. I think Slacked is one of the better players in the game and just in the league as far as just how he just works as a player. His work ethic, his understanding of the game, the way he breaks it down, like just Call of Duty in general, he's just a phenomenal player. Octane is a top AR in the game, and Apathy. The only thing about Apathy, this is my question.
Dashy, TJ.
No, that's Optic.
JCap.
That's Optic.
Oh wait,
that's Optic.
Which one did you? Who are you
Seattle.
on? Who was it?
Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. Sorry. Keep going.
Okay, so with Apathy, the thing about Apathy, and this is the question that lingers in my mind about Apathy. I have always thought that Apathy is a great Call of Duty player. In my mind, for whatever reason, it feels like Apathy only really showed up at COD Champs. And that's not to knock him as a player or a person in any way, shape, or form. But if he can take that, hang on real quick. But if he could take that energy and the way that he plays, if he could take that, that COD Champs energy, right, and instill it within himself the entire year, I think that you're going to see an Apathy that we haven't seen in a really long time. And that's what I really feel like needs to happen on that roster. Because you need all 5 players clicking. All 5 players have to be on that level in order to win. And again, it's just, the question that lingers in my mind is Apathy going to step up? Is Slacked going to be really consistent this year? Is you
got Karma, Enable, Octane, Slacked, Apathy, and
Enable is one of the best, like one of the best subs. Like obviously you have other players who are very good subs as well, like Kenny, like Scump. But as far as just how he plays, his knowledge of the game, and just his willingness to want to win, like I don't want people to get this wrong. Seattle does have a recipe for success. This roster could potentially do just wonders, right? And could completely knock every prediction that is in my current top 4, out of the water. It would completely mess it up. Absolutely. It's just a matter of, are these players going to click at the same time? Is apathy going to stay, is apathy going to be able to, again, like bring in and instill that COD champs energy for an entire year? And is Slack going to be really consistent? That's really the focal point of issues that could potentially happen with that team, right? And those are the questions that just kind of linger on that roster. And again, that's why I'm putting them at 4th. Now, if I'm going off of rumored rosters as far as, who, like who's who, I'm going to say that the fifth roster is Florida. And the reason why I say Florida COD is because they have Frosty. And they have, I'm trying to think who else it is. It's Frosty. I cannot remember the other members on that roster specifically that got leaked. But again, we don't know the official roster yet for that team. But I really think that Florida COD will get into that top 5, and they will be a part of that top 5. My question really is Frosty going to step up and, be able to be that star player that he was in Halo and be that in Call of Duty? And is he going to be able to, maintain himself on that level, right? And be able to grind with the other players on his team. Now I do know that Ogre 2 is a part of, that Florida team. He's a manager for the roster. So I have a lot of faith in Ogre 2. The guy did go to COD World Champs for Black Ops 2. And he's been very accomplished in his years as a player in general, whether it's Halo, COD, Shadowrun, whatever the case is. He's been a very successful player, and I think that him being that general manager for Florida COD, I think that he's going to be very introspective on that roster. Now, obviously, we know Minnesota COD's roster, which is going to be, I believe they have a ton of players. They have Silly. They have a Sim who they just picked up today. They have, I think they're like the only roster with like 7 or 8 players.
I'll look it
like
up
on
quick.
the roster.
I'll look it up.
They're like the only team that I've seen that has like a full roster, like as far as like the limit of what you could have on a COD franchise team.
Mm-hmm.
They have the most. So it's going to be really interesting to see. They have a lot of young talent, and if Silly can help be a guiding force and into helping these players, really realize their full potential, and I think they're going to do decently well. I think that with this year of COD, you're going to see that team be a developmental team. They are developing talent for the latter half of this year and going into next year.
So right now they have 4 open slots on their roster. So they have Silly, they have Assault, GodRx, and Saint. Saint is the team coach, but they have 4 open slots. And
they have filled them. I know that they've tweeted about them. Yeah, they filled them. They've tweeted about them. I just don't have a full list here in front of me.
This article came out a month ago, so
a month ago. Okay. Yeah, 100%. They've filled out the rest of the roster, but it's just a lot of young talent. Even GodRx. GodRx is a very young, talented player who did phenomenal on Midnight. The roster who just upset everybody and was basically telling everyone that you had no idea we were coming and we're taking a pro league spot, and you're not stopping us. And it was just really incredible to watch. GodRx as a player, I think that he's very phenomenal. But again, every single player besides Silly and Saints,
You got Alex 1935.
yeah, Alex is
Cog
really
ML,
good.
and
Alex is really good.
next one is GSTA. I guess and then ASIM. That's his name. Hold on, let me click.
Yes, a sim.
Oh, MN Epsim. Yeah, I could not. I had to click on it. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. As far as that roster is concerned, right? Like Alex is really good. Alex is really good. I just think again, every piece of talent that they have on Minnesota COD is all developmental. They are just going to be developing themselves and learning together. Now, the only advantage that I see that Minnesota COD has over other teams is that you're going to be able to switch out players, and you're going to be able to obviously have the ability to keep changing up the way your team looks and change the landscape. Now, that could be both beneficial and detrimental, because if you don't have a full roster of people who if you don't have a full roster of people who are clicking, you are going to really regret it. You're going to really regret it, because they're not going to play up to par. They're not going to be doing everything they want to do. But if you can properly put in a regimen, like a training regimen, that's going to be beneficial to your roster and the way that you're trying to go about the team, then I think that there's a really good chance that the Minnesota COD roster could sneak into that top 5. They could sneak into a top 4, but they have to be clicking on all cylinders, and they really have to have a game plan going into every single match that they play. And again, that's the biggest part about it. Now, as far as like that's concerned, like that's really my top 5, right? And I'll go over it one more time with everyone that's listening into the podcast. So my number 1 is Dallas Empire. My number 2 is Chicago COD. My number 3 is Optic LA. My number 4 is going to be Seattle. My number 5 is going to be Florida. And I'd say my number 6 for right now is going to be Minnesota COD.
Minnesota's your wild card?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I would say Minnesota is really my wild card. Now, you do have other teams out there like LA Gorillas, for example, who have Aches a part of their roster. I'm going to put it this way, right? A lot of people don't like Aches. I'm a fan of Aches, all right? I'm a fan of Mr. Patrick Price. Why? Because he's a North Carolina boy. I'm a North Carolina boy, and North Carolinians support each other. So as far as that's concerned, I do support Aches and in his endeavors as a player, and I think that he will be able to do something this year. I just do not think that we're going to see an incredible performance out of this, franchise like this year. I just don't see LA Gorillas doing anything that is like super substantial, right? And that's because I don't know who was picking the players for that team, but it just seemed like they were just trying to grab what was left. It didn't feel like they had, things at their disposal, and they were able to, create a roster that was just going to fit together well. It really felt like, it was thrown together. So again, it's really just going to kind of be, or just kind of like see how things are going to go. But I honestly would say Minnesota COD and the LA Gorillas are going to be like my 2 wild cards. Depending on how everything goes, depending on their training regimens, the way that they approach the game, and just like the organization approaches the team, and how they do things, a lot of like that's going to really it's really going to foreshadow their season, to be completely honest with you. And if they don't do well, then I think that we're going to see some things move around, possibly trades come in, whatever the case is. I think that we're going to start seeing those happen. And as far as COD teams are concerned, right? I just to add this last thing, as far as COD teams are concerned, anything can happen. Call of Duty is a game of, who shows up on the day, who is going to pull out all the stops, and who's going to be the most prepared. And that's why, and that's really like how my top 5 was really set, including my 2 wild cards, right? Is just what are they going to be doing? Like, how are they going to be just, approaching and just understanding, and how consistent are they going to be? And just like, how are they looking to approach it, and who's kind of in their corner, right? Especially with Optic LA having Mud Dog, and then you have, Chicago COD, who has Hex, and Hex working as a, organization owner. He has a lot of weight there, and as well as a lot of influence. And then with Dallas, you have Hastro, and you have, that type of leadership around you as well. So again, anything can happen. I'm really curious to see, but that's really what my top 5 is based on, and that's really consistency.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, today is mostly our opinions and everything. We want to really think down below for anyone who wants the podcast. Thank you very much. You don't know how much we appreciate you watching this podcast, listening to it, however you watched it or listened to it, however it was.
We
really
appreciate
appreciate
you,
everything you do,
and we love you.
But that wraps it up here for us today.
Yes.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you so
see
much.
You next time.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for being a part of the Nfinite podcast. Thank you so much for supporting us, and make sure again to check back every single day of the week. We're going to be posting several different podcasts throughout the week, just because we have a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of stuff happening within the industry. And in order to stay in tune, right? Make sure that you're following us on whatever podcast platform, whether that's Anchor, Google Podcast, or Spotify. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a thumbs up, comment below, let us know your opinions about what we talked about tonight. Also, you can also hit us up on social media at Nfinite. You can also hit me up on social media at Nfinite Red Ghost, and you can also hit up Steven on Twitter at Steven Nfinite. So make sure, again, hit us up, let us know your opinions, whatever platform it may be, or whatever course you would like to use. We're just happy that you guys are a part of our community and allowing us to do this. So thank you so much. You guys are the best supporters in the world, and we absolutely love you. And we hope that you have a wonderful day, one night, whatever case it may be, whatever time you're listening to this. We love you for it.